Welcome to the France 24 Observers, the show that's based on our network of ordinary people who are our eyes and ears around the world. We begin today in Salah, a desert town in the Algerian part of the Sahara. Now, Algeria depends on oil and gas for 1/3 of its economy, and with its gas exports falling in recent years, the government has decided it has to exploit the country's vast reserves of shale gas, which are second in the world only to Argentina and China. That means fracking, a controversial technique that involves blasting underground rock with a mixture of water, sand and chemicals. The inhabitants of In Salah are worried.
The demonstrators went to see the drilling sites because all the information we've seen says the water's going to be recycled. What's happening is terrible. An environmental catastrophe has already happened. The work that's going on doesn't make any sense. Everything around the sites is polluted. Highly dangerous chemical substances are being stored on wooden pallets in the open air, substances that can be deadly. And the water that's supposed to be recycled, there are storage tanks that are left open to the air too. Our university students and professors have told us about the drilling sites. They told us that the shale gas is very dangerous for our health and for the environment, especially the fracking operation. We're in the desert, in the Sahara, and they're asking us to live without water, or with water that's polluted. It's impossible, intolerable. There's a square in front of the regional government, and we've been occupying it. It's been 39 days now, day and night. A sit-in. And what do the authorities tell us? They say, we're in a trial period. It's like they're not talking the same language as us. The problem is the trial drilling itself. They're fracking, so they're polluting the water table. Until they've figured out how to do it cleanly, until they've convinced us that shale gas and fracking are safe, they have to stop. They have to.
The Algerian government says that fracking could bring thousands of jobs to the region. To the city of Abidjan now, in Ivory Coast, West Africa. In the last 3 months, at least 25 children have been kidnapped and murdered. That has created a panic amongst the city's parents. Here is our observer, Julien Appa.
The day I filmed the video, it was the day after the government decided to deal with the problem. They announced they were sending in the police to protect our children. The next day, a rumour went around in the Yapogan district that kidnappers had forced their way into schools and abducted 2 more children. It created a panic. At the schools I went to, parents were coming to get their kids. The teachers didn't want them to go home, but the parents insisted. At one school, the parents had broken open the gate and gone in to get their kids. When you look at the video, you can see the kids whose parents hadn't shown up. They were crying. It was complete panic. People have had enough of these kidnappings. They're furious. Lots of people are complaining about the government's slow reaction. What we're seeing now is vigilante justice. When people hear there's been another kidnapping, they find the suspect and beat him up, even if there's no proof that he's actually the one who's responsible. People have to stop taking justice into their own hands. They should let the police do their job.
And now for some more reports and images sent in by our observers. First up, Rwanda. The country has experienced strong growth since the genocide 20 years ago, and the government is anxious to modernize. Part of that is replacing the minibuses that have traditionally served the capital Kigali with the big buses you see in any modern city. But our observers say there just aren't enough of them yet, and they often have to wait as long as 2 hours to get a bus. They say yes to modernity, but at a pace that's realistic. Saudi Arabia. Tradition requires that when there's a new monarch, the men of the kingdom show allegiance by shaking his hand. That might have been feasible in a sparsely populated nomadic society, but with a population nearing 30 million, it's impossible today. So some Saudis have been making do with cardboard cutouts of the new King Salman and his designated successors. with actors standing behind to provide the arm. Our observer says these two videos were filmed in schools. The director is apparently anxious to make a good impression on their new ruler. Finally today, standing up to Boko Haram. The Nigerian Islamist group is now targeting neighbouring Cameroon, but one rapper there says he is not scared. Steve Etogo, aka One Love, tells us he's normally critical of the Cameroonian president Paul Biya, but now he's rallying behind him and the army in the name of national unity. That's it for this week. As always, you can find more reports from our observers on our website, on our Facebook and Twitter pages, and on our apps for mobiles. See you next time.